What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio, bringing you another Viva La Vinyl album review, and I'm so excited to be talking to you today about one of my very favorites of all time, Jimi Hendrix, Band of Gypsys. And let me just say, this is my personal favorite Hendrix album, and that's really saying something because all his albums are great. But this is also my favorite live album of all time. It is just perfect. I give it a 10 out of 10, A+. Let me start by saying the Band of Gypsys, which is Hendrix, Buddy Miles, and Billy Cox, are just a force to be reckoned with, and just incredible. He moved on from working with the Jimi Hendrix Experience, who, were an awesome trio in their own right, but I think Jimi was really on the verge of doing something amazing here in this live setting on New Year's Eve 1969 going into 1970. Unfortunately, his life was cut short way too soon, and there are some recorded versions of some of these songs like Message to Love and Power of Soul, but I think that what he was doing in the studio was never fully realized, so those versions are not as great as these live versions. These are like gritty and just full of soul, and it's so cool to see, though, the direction that he was taking. You can tell that he was being influenced by bands like Sly and the Family Stone, which you could actually hear him play a bit of one of their songs on the intro to the last song, We Gotta Live Together. He was really getting into this message of love and just connecting with people. So it's a real shame that it was cut short, but what a way to go out, because I mean, just everything on this album is perfect, from the opening of Who Knows, which is just one of the coolest bluesy riffs of all time, the down, 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 and so perfectly sampled years later by Digital Underground on one of their really cool songs, The Way We Swing. But of course, nothing beats the original. I mean, this is just so epic, and the guitar tones that Hendrix gets out of his guitar there was never anything before it, or there hasn't been anything since that matches these squeals that he gets. And keep in mind, people, all he was using at most was like a wah pedal and maybe some volume effects. All of it was just natural in a live setting. Incredible. And Buddy Miles on the drums, and even, I used to fast forward through the midsection of Buddy Miles doing that little scat vocal thing, but even that is really cool and endearing and actually fits in with the song in such a way that I never skip it now. And Billy Cox on bass is just incredible. He really carries the weight throughout this whole set, because Hendrix just goes off into the stratosphere, so he's got to hold it together. And such an incredible trio. I can go on and on just about them and their performances, but I got to move on to the next song, which is Machine Gun, which, if you have not heard Machine Gun live from Band of Gypsys, it will blow your mind in multiple ways. I mean, such an amazing political statement at the time, which, the Vietnam War was still going on, and even today it still resonates with things that are going on to this day, unfortunately, with too many machine guns. But what's so cool is, and whether on record or live, Hendrix has always been accused of not having the greatest voice, which, is true. And on here especially, you can't really make out what he's saying. It's kind of mumbly and lost in the mix. But it doesn't matter, because what's even more powerful is what they do musically on this song. I mean, he makes his guitar sound like a machine gun, and then later in the song, like bombs going off, exploding. And then, of course, the band backing him up, Buddy Miles hitting those snare hits to also mimic the machine gun. it's just, I mean, it literally sounds like a war, and just beautifully performed. I cannot even describe in words what this sounds like. And you know, a lot of people always put Hendrix, the Star Spangled Banner, as this kind of you know, fitting along with his legend. But to me, Machine Gun does so much more to the Hendrix, you know, it's just incredible. I can't, words can't do it justice. You just got to listen to this thing. And it just, from there, gets more and more fun and jammy. The song Changes, which is written by Buddy Miles, and he does the lead vocals on it. Such a cool riff, and Hendrix just goes nuts with it, with the wah pedal, and they just go crazy and have a good time. You can tell it's just very loose, and they go off into different directions but then bring it right back. They're such a tight band for being such a new band. It really just is incredible to, I mean, no trio has really ever touched this. I mean, the closest thing I can think of would be Cream, you know, which they were also incredible, but for such a new thing that was going on, Power of Soul, another incredible riff, and Hendrix just taking the reins, and again, Billy Cox just keeping it solid throughout. Incredible. Message to Love. I love the background vocals that Buddy Miles has throughout the song, the oohs and ahs, and then ending it off with We Gotta Live Together. Again, such a message of peace and love, and I just love the vibe of this album, but again, overall, it's just an incredible performance. If you're a guitar player and you're trying to learn, you know, what to do, what not to do, listen to Band of Gypsys and just take notes, and or try to, because your brain is going to melt when you hear some of these sounds, some of these tones that Hendrix gets out of his guitar. Sometimes it sounds like bombs, sometimes it sounds like birds. I don't know how he does it. He really was the best of all time on guitar. There's no questioning that. I mean, guitarists like Stevie Ray Vaughan have cited him as the best. Eric Clapton, you know, it's he was not of this earth, and somehow he was for a short time, and I'm so glad that he was for the time he was here. Thank you for gifting us with such an amazing way to go out. You know, I wish there was more Hendrix, and there continue to be more and more releases from the Hendrix estate through the years, but nothing's ever going to top Band of Gypsys. It really doesn't get better than this, folks. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your opinion. What's your favorite Hendrix album? You know, Are You Experienced? Incredible. Bold as Love, Electric Ladyland. All those are just landmark, incredible albums. But for me, this proves how amazing the guy was, because even in a live setting where he didn't have to hide behind studio trickery, he still shows you, it's just proof that nobody could top him. And he was more than just a showman, which some people sometimes say. He was the real deal, folks. So Hendrix, Viva La Vinyl. Guys, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.